Jack Cooper working with you now, just how does that help you, and how does, what does he kind of make easier for you?
Again, Jack brings a lot of experience. The one thing, about our defensive staff, you got guys that have been head coaches, guys that have been coordinator. He's been a coordinator. So again, he sees big picture, not just, kind of like just another, just position coach. So we knock out a lot of ideas on each other. Plus he allows us to let him work with the nickels or take the young guys a lot of times in this camp. When we're working with the older guys, he can take the whole group of younger guys. And a lot of times where you don't get to watch them, in the meetings, because the meetings are a little bit shorter, he can spend time and watch every rep with them.
When you look at your group as a whole, do you feel like you're deeper with guys who are ready to contribute than you were last season?
Yeah, definitely. When you got RJ, you got Amari as year two. Jason Jonas, who came early a year ago. So all those guys are kind of rotating, if you notice, like with the ones and twos, just so we could, because I really got like 6 guys that feel comfortable with putting in there and playing. And I think, again, with that, I think guys can play less and play better, instead of playing 67 snaps a game.
Well, you obviously know Luke.
Yeah.
You've known him for a long time. He's intense, which is not exactly breaking news. Have you seen a little bit more urgency out of him this camp, even than maybe?
I think always. I think year one, year two is always going to be different. I think the expectation is different. I think you learn your team a little bit more as the head coach. You also too evaluate what happened last year. And he's made it known that there were certain things that he didn't see. That he wished. So I think again, when you go to year two, you make sure that those things don't happen again. So the urgency, the consistency, all those things are things that, we thought we had coming out of camp that we didn't have when it hit the hay a little bit. So I think that's the things that he keeps harping with our coaches and harping with our players of just, the urgency and consistency. Even when we go through our walkthroughs at night, it's a walkthrough, but there has to be some urgency to it. And it's not just a walkthrough. We got to get better when we're doing everything.
Coach, go ahead.
Xavier was a guy you guys kind of went all out for last year. Is he a guy that could potentially help you this year based on what you've seen so far?
It's hard to tell right now with a freshman. The one thing about him is he's built not like a freshman. He's 190-something pounds, runs very fast, but he's also a smart kid. So he picks up on it very, very fast. Again, we'll see, how much he can learn, how much he can do. Body-wise, talent-wise, you would say yes, but he's still got a long way to go just to sit there and how to play the game and how physical this game is on this level.
Coach, you've coached now a number of years in the Big Ten, and 4 teams coming in from a pretty good conference. You see the intensity ratcheting up even more so to brand new heights? Yeah,
is that a nice way of telling me I'm old? Right. Many years, nice way of telling me I'm old. So, but no. Again, it's a great thing with those guys coming in with you would sit there and say blue blood programs coming into this conference. I don't know if the intensity amps up. Every week is every week, but it is nice to I enjoy those games more than sometimes you don't play a conference game or something like that. Get a little bit nervous on those games more. Your guys will be hyped up for those games and things like that. And if you want to be the best, you got to play the best and beat the best.
You mentioned the nickels and Jack Wolfer, those guys. Obviously we've seen Max and Austin getting some reps in there. Who do you think is maybe the next in line there in terms of what you want from that position?
Yeah, Owen Arnett has worked there also too. And then JT Turner has worked there also too as a young guy. There are times, again, through my long career that's a position that you may only have like one guy.
Sure.
We have the ability to have 2. Luckily with Max, sticking around and being here. And then you always try to work a young guy. Always try just for the future and down the road. So JT, Owen, are the guys right now. I'm sure, again, sometime the guys that we've recruited now, one of those guys in the next class will be, in that nickel position also too. But if you have one, you're good. If you have two, you're definitely lucky,
Is that one of the harder positions for you to coach and teach guys? Because not a lot of the guys that you're recruiting at this level are going to be playing nickel in high school very much.
It's kind of like our, I would sit there and say like our outside linebacker position, like our Jack and Sams, because those are in high school, those are ends, they think they're defensive linemen, all those types of deal. And like you said, no one really plays that position in high school. So, our first year we went with a guy in my room and until we got to the bowl game, then we went with somebody in the safety room. And I think we can do both. Max is kind of the Swiss Army knife. He's kind of like a corner and safety. AB's a bigger safety. But again, to me, it's a skill set. I think it can come from either set of our room. We ask those guys to play man. We ask them to play zone. I think it helps us when it's in the safety room with all of our adjustments, because all those guys are in the same room. And last year, we had to make a lot of different adjustments that, it wasn't the communication that we wanted because it was my room and their room and everything else.
You knew with Amari it was going to kind of be a process with him.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of trajectory did you see him on now that you've had him for a year and just kind of focus on football now?
Again, he's a big kid that has gotten a lot stronger and gotten a lot faster. That's the one thing coming out of high school. You always wonder how fast he was going to get. And he's running 20 miles an hour consistently, which is very good for how big he is. But the biggest challenge that I have with him, and I tell him all the time, is it's kind of like, how do I want to put it? Don't try to be a cover corner. I mean, you're a big kid. Don't try to sit out there and be a 5'9" guy. You got to get physical. You got to put that big body on somebody, and you play a lot different than Rico plays, and that's the big challenge that I had with him, is just be physical. Don't try to sit out there and be a cover corner.
But what stands out to you as far as RJ goes this camp compared to what you maybe saw in the spring?
Again, RJ has played a lot of college football. He brings a lot of experience, and like this doesn't faze him, where again you get a new guy or you get a young guy and this is totally different. He's been through camp, although it's different for him. He's been through it, but he's played a lot of man-to-man covers, which is what we like. He's physical, he's tough. Again, you look at where he's from Miami Northwestern, very, very outgoing, type of dude, isn't afraid to communicate and do things like that. So that's where it helps us, I think, in that room with the leadership also too.
What about his nice year?
Mm-hmm.
How much further along is he than at this time last year? Having the
big,
entire offseason?
Yeah, big time. He's put on 20 pounds, which is, I think, he's faster. He's bigger, and that's the one thing I think last year you saw that he kind of like wore down, and even he said it. Coach Mitchell coached him, and Coach Mitchell even said, we were beating people a lot at Grand Valley. He only played like half a game, a lot of the time. So the conditioning, the physicality of this level, it all played a factor, with him last year. But this offseason, he put on 20 pounds. I think he's a lot more confident, understanding the defense and everything. So I think he's going to have a big year, for us.
Do you think is Hallman back to where, you kind of expect him to be after, sitting out the spring?
Yeah, I think he's actually a little bit better, because I was worried about his lungs more than anything. When you sit out that long, are you going to be in shape for, this type of practice and this type of deal? But he's done a great job of getting himself in shape, even when he couldn't do stuff physically with us. He was getting his lungs ready, because that was the biggest, I think, thing. And then he got a hit, and that's the other thing. You get a hit, you hit it, you see it's okay. I always tell him, man, you got a bionic arm now. You should be killing people, So he tries to go in there. He thinks he can go in there and knock people out, but I'm very impressed with and again, that was my biggest worry, was he going to be in condition, and he is.